in main corridors or main rooms in
Really?
really they have. And if you want to bring your pad in, iPad or whatever you can, and a lot of them have had these televisions that you can pay for, and you can pay for so many days or however long you're going to be in, but you choose the channels that you're going to watch. And that's quite important. Again, this is the hospitals not being playing, I'm in charge. They're saying, this isn't doing you any good. This is not helping your mood. And when you are ill and unhealthy or long term sick, you do not need to have this mood pushed further and further down, because it is really hard to then get yourself back up again. All right. If you imagine life like a seesaw, all we're getting is that one trajectory. We need to bring it back to balance. Okay. So I wanted a last thing to say, and this is kind of again a bit back to my skin story, but when they did a psychosocial experiment, and this again is amazing. The stressors, they call them stressors, and they call them the stressors of disease. Now, stress is in itself the form of a disease. We didn't know that, but that's what they call it. Stress acts as a disease. Okay. So if you exhibit stress, right, something has caused that. We need to know what the stressor was. What was the reason for that stress level to go up? What was the reason for your imbalance? Okay. And what we're finding out is it's just literally too much of the same negativity. All right. What's happening next? Oh my gosh, what about this? Oh my gosh, what about that? Before we know where we are, we talk ourselves into a low zone. All right. The way to handle your mindfulness and your mind wellness is to only allow yourself enough to give you the information you need, and then off. And then deal with it tomorrow, because tomorrow is always going to come. Okay? So, whether or not you like me saying this, news can have a negative effect on your stress levels. Who would have known it, right? But it's true. I've got Martha with a thumbs up there. So please, if we do nothing else today, understand that we are in charge of our own health. Don't allow stressors to unbalance us. All right. And the news is exactly one of those. Now I'm going to shut up. Over to you, Annie, and I'm going to have coffee.
Can I say that? Here's one thing I would say for sure. There's a few more to
Go for
welcome
it.
in. Don't get your news from social media. Goodness me. There's nothing more biased and more crazy and more clickbaity, and more misinformed than news from social media. What people do that every day now, Paulette. I don't get it. I never have, I
Oh,
never do.
with Stockport, the whole reason the riots happened was because somebody in Sweden put out a note to say that it was a jihadi and that it was a Muslim and that they had done this, that, and the other, right? And then the news was saying, no, actually, he's a Christian lad from a Christian family, born and bred in the UK, born in Wales, right? But they were saying he was an immigrant. Next thing you know, is we had the biggest riots we've seen in London and in all around the area, in Southport, in London, Birmingham, Manchester. Every single major town and city had a major incident, and it came from somebody in Sweden. And when he was asked why he did it, you know what he said? I was only going by what somebody had told me on social media. So he repeated something. He misspoke, right? Somebody misspoke and he misspoke again. Hi, Coach David. Lovely to see you. Oh, right. Annie, over to you. Let's invite our guests up and see what they think we've been talking about.
Michelle, you're next for sure. We'll come to you in a second, Michelle. So, Coach, welcome. We'll see you. Who else do we see? Banana, you're here. Yes, Ilana, Banana. Yes, triggers indeed. Now,
Ilana, Banana.
You know, it really can.
My favorite Ilana in the world, she is.
Thank you, Paula, and I appreciate your encouragement. Annie. You know, you're the super publisher, Nicole. You are that person, my friend. I love the work you do online.
Absolutely.
We're talking about showing up with kindness.
There's Jay. Hi, Jay.
So I had a friend who couldn't handle the stress of the job. She found another job, and her health improves exponentially. That's a point. We need to find things that give us joy, right? We need to find joy in every day of our life.
Talking about stressors.
Yeah, don't fall for the triggers and don't live with them, because they just drag us down. Janice, welcome. Glad you're here.
Hi, Janice.
Harry, you've joined us. Why did the corned beef become a teacher? It was a greater cutting through knowledge.
It was a great. I got this today. It's a good one.
Yeah. You know, thank you so much, Carrie. Connect with Carrie if you want daily jokes. I agree with everything on social media is subjective and to the person sharing. It really is. Like, I mean, see, but the risk is that our kids get to get their news from social media as well, Paula. That's a problem, right? And
also, as I said, the guy in Sweden said that he got the information that he passed out on social media from somebody on social media. He'd give no name. So that caused chaos. So, we can't allow the biases to affect us. We have to stop it. And social media is full of people of self-importance. They will say what they want you to say for clickbait. Okay? And that's the truth. There's so many of them, and they're competing in a market that is so competitive that they will say almost anything, right? Like they would say something like the next show Annie will be doing in a mankini, right? And
you don't want to see that.
Listen, it might bring look, it's salacious. It may bring a certain number of people to show.
Yes.
It may certainly turn a few people off, right? But the point is, it's salacious. I'm making a point. Now, what's fantastic saying, I tried to read a book. Right, Annie says, shush. Right, I try to read a book in the evening to avoid hearing the news. Yes, perfect. Reading a book is one of the best ways to calm the mind, just a few pages before you sleep. It's a beautiful way to end the day. And if you can have some calming music as well, if you can read and have music, that is, again, beautiful. It takes you to a really quick sleep. I take pills, so I don't need to read. But that's another story.
So I'm going to come to Marsha first because I know she's in a car, so I never know that you stop to talk to her. So let's hear from you. So the one thing let me say a strange fact that we all know. There's literally hundreds of TV channels. Find another one. Listen to the news once a few months and then turn it over. There's other channels, many of them. Watch those instead, rather than watching the news 24/7. Let me stop talking. Marsha, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much. I'm hanging in there. This is a really...
I do come across a lot of members,
senior population, who get glued to the TV. I hope I'm not going in and out, and if I am, I do apologize. And what comes with that, because they're so glued to the TV, is we're also seeing isolation, depression, and unmotivation from the news. And so this conversation, like, it's hitting what I'm doing right now, trying to get folks to get motivated to get out of the house, because they're so used to the norm of getting up and watching the news. And sometimes they'll share that they'll just turn on the TV just to have background noise, to keep, the background noise going. So it is a touchy subject. And then, I have a child, he's 14, and he gets his news from TikTok. That's where he gets his news. And then he'll bring it up to me, and sometimes he'll know the information before I even know. So it's interesting to see the young people versus the senior population, right? The young people, like my son, he's 14. He'll hear it and he'll ask and then he'll let it go. Whereas the seniors will hear it and will keep it in. So I just wanted to share that observation in case.
I think that's absolutely spot on, because for me, a younger person hears it, it's gone. An older person sits and stews, and that's a fact. So, thank you, Martha. You're absolutely right. Can you put my ears on, Ben? Just been told I've not got my ears on. Hold on a sec.
I think that fact checking used to be, but these days is no more, right?
Yeah, sorry about that. So
It's
yeah,
all right.
but that is exactly what that is, that TikTok type, that mentality of children. Even if it's misinformed, or they've misspoke, or they've made it up, it goes shoom, and it flies past. It doesn't actually hang by. It doesn't sit with them. Majority of young folk have got so much coming in, they don't have time to sit and worry. The warriors are the old folks that are sitting there watching it on 24/7. So there are some teenagers, I would say that their stress levels go through the roof when they hear the word war, or they hear things that are scary. But generally speaking, if they're on TikTok, that kind of quick 14, 15 minute, 14, 15 second, 20 second, 30 second, it's just like floats by. And thank goodness it does, because it is, that kind of information we don't want in their minds. So after Martha, I believe it was Michelle. Michelle, over to you. What are you thinking?
Sorry, 30 fingers. Okay, you guys, just first off here. Michelle feels like a bee today, and her antenna's bent because I've been outside all day and I've been having fun. So when you come inside from where we are storming, by the way, it's really cool. We are storming. And so I've learned today, just want to get this out, that it's like I'm fidgeting. I get it. From the sensory issues and stuff like that, it's like all of a sudden I'm a bee with my antenna broken. Now that we got that out of the way, and I'm fidgeting, which I do have a plan for this. I like doing these little experiments, because if I don't do them on myself, we're not gonna know for our youth, are we? Oh, as I don't know about anyone else, but in America, I don't, I try. I'll turn the news on, and it's just like, no, 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 because I don't know, for some reason in America, they just say what they want to. And then you get everyone fighting on Twitter or an X and everything. And since I don't have social media, I honestly don't know what the hell's going on. And honestly, I don't think they do either. So it's really cool that, no one's leading each other around, because everyone's stuck, because everyone's just like, no one knows what's going on. But what sucks for me, I don't have local channels because I don't pay for them. I know everything else is going on in the world, and chaos, drama, and trauma sells. That's one thing everyone needs to remember out there. When you are watching the news, Can you hear my horses? We're storming, and they're right out my window. I brought them up with me. Trauma and drama sells. It does. And these news agencies need to make money to get sponsors, to get on TV, you guys. And so why wouldn't they do it to us? I mean, it's our own stupidity. And so instead of being stupid, take the bull by the horns, or whatever you want to call it, and think for yourself. Honestly, look at the news and say, I don't know if that would really happen. Because then the next day they come out and they're like, oh, so-and-so news channel got fined for giving out the wrong information. And that's what's been going on over here lately. And it's just like, well, it's cool that we're fixing it. We are fixing it. But we have the technology, folks. There's no reasons for a cockfight. Oh my gosh. I couldn't even let my, we have, politics have been ruined. Okay. So let's just get that. Neither side can be happy, or they can be happy. But one thing we all got to agree on is let's just be happy. It was happened, and we're all at the starting point. But when you're watching the news, your kids hearing that, and they vibrate off of whatever you do, Paulette, just like you said. Can you imagine being a kid and every time they hear a certain word that they know is going to trigger their parents, it triggers them? I see it happen all the time. It's just like, that just doesn't make sense. Stop it. We watch the news while the chaos is going on in your bedroom, maybe with your earplugs in or something like that, and let your kids know what's going on to a point. But our kids are picking up our battle, folks, because we're all lazy asses sitting in front of a TV paying to see who's going to be right or wrong. Well, our kids are out there trying to learn, and they're fighting, and it's chaotic, and it irritates me. I can't see it does.
What I love about what you've said as well is that, yes, that what our nervousness, our anxiety levels, our stressors all are affected by our young. So if our young are stressed, we're stressed. If our young are worried about a spelling test, we go to work, all right? And we've got a job to do, but we're worried about our child and their spelling test. That is completely normal. But when they're worrying about the news or words we've heard, no. Let's be in control of what we take inside and what we allow to be part of our bodies, our minds, our hearts, and our souls. Let's not take on board the negativity and let that resonate with us, stress our families. Let's stop it. Let's say to ourselves, right, we only watch the news, say at 10 o'clock or 9 p.m. when the kids are in bed. They don't need to know. They don't need to see it. Keep as much away from them as you can at the moment, especially at the moment, both in the UK and especially in Canada and the US. There is like every day it's another and it might even be, listen, 1 minute it's this, then it's that, then it's the other. So at the end of the day, if you'd started not watching it till the end of the day, you'd have found out that all the things that happened in between all got sorted by the end of the day, right? So I think just give yourself like a dinner with the news, or dinner after news, or something like that, so that you just watch it the once, and then at least you know what's happening, you're up to date with things, and you move forward, and you keep it away as much as possible from the little ones, because they will not read it and see it properly, and they may take on board your stress. That's the stressor. They may take on board your stress, and that's what we're trying to avoid. So thank you, Michelle. Absolutely spot on.
I think kids have their own dangers that would not the social media thing again, where they have fake, when they put fake people images on videos, and the kids think, oh, that must be true. It's a video. not realizing that it's essentially AI made, and literally it's total lies. That is. I feel for kids because I don't know how they're meant to work out what's true and what's not. YouTube is full of rubbish like that. Videos that just are not true.
during COVID, I heard from Ben that all the exams were off and they were on. They were off and they were on. And I said, have they actually announced anything? Yes. Oh, yeah. They've announced it. I said, well, where are you getting this information? The internet. Oh, great. Great.
It's
Drives
a
me
problem.
nuts. I'm like,
It's a
wait
problem.
till we hear from the politicians and then I'll believe it, okay?
Yeah, no,
And
Coach
yes,
David,
in the end, they didn't do their GCSEs.
of course not. Thank you, Coach David.
We
it
are
is
in deep quagmire.
fakes. We are we're in a deep hole
True.
when it comes to what our kids are seeing.
Yeah.
It's a sad reality, but that's just how it is. So Ilana says it's completely AI. It is, and it's a problem. I don't know how we control it. I really don't. My son,
Can I?
these things I've seen. We'll come to you in a second, Coach. Unless you don't mind waiting, Joni. Cool. All right, Joni. Coach, we're with you, my friend. We're with you.
Thank you so much for having me. Very interesting conversation. Very interesting. There are many dimensions, and let me start from where we are right now. The internet is a very powerful resource, no doubt, but it's become a tyrant. The lie, the truth, and the ugly, they've come together. And we're now sorting and trying to find what is true. And we need to develop the skill sets and the capacity to investigate and find what is true, because there are different things going on. The truth is attacking the lie, and the lie is attacking the truth. So there are people who are not who they are, and they come to the internet to present themselves. You could be chatting with someone, and we have children literally committing suicide, cyberbullying, teenage suicides. What we're discussing, I'm sorry to morbidize it, but it is life and death. We also have to teach our children, Paulette, the skill set to sieve critical reasoning and questioning, not to follow every wind of conversation. The person presenting him or herself as a saint may actually be the devil, and vice versa. The second thing is that I found on the internet recently is the disturbing trend of propagandists. Now, somebody just comes and begins to brand Paulette as a fraud. And the person does everything, talks to people, gives conversations, gives deep fake videos, does all sorts. Now, people begin to relate with Paulette until Paulette, God forbid, or ex-person, then commits suicide. There are cases like this all over the internet right now, where your closest friends and families, because they hate you or something, they spread bad blood on the internet, and people believe it. Look, what Annie was saying right now, there are people who go and say, oh, that guy is not real, it's fake. How is he fake, or how is it true? What is your evidence? Can we do a three-way WhatsApp call? Do you know him? If we do a three-way WhatsApp call, can you repeat this thing right where he or she is? Why are you telling me this information? Are you not the fake person? And it's so sad how people think that they're on the right side and they're the wrong side. And it's amazing how the internet is swimming with these kinds of things right now. And I am seeing a couple of things and I'm laughing at myself. Permit me to go slightly deeply psychological, philosophical. It's a form of witchcraft. When you scroll through somebody's timeline and then you begin to feel sad, or you interact with someone's posts, or you interact on social media, and you begin to feel really, really internally sad. You can feel bitterness, anger, hate, rivalry, jealousy, envy. That is what the post leaves you with. So why are you scrolling? Why are you there? Block the person, block that channel. You don't need it. Because the mind and the body are one. Your soul is responsible for your longevity. the emotions you have, there is Dr. Caroline Leaf and a lot of scientists who have said people die when their minds die, not from disease conditions, not from very tough conditions, not from hard times. They die when their soul gives up. And I've spoken to medical doctors and nurses to ask this question. And let me give you one experiment. There was a particular ward back home in Nigeria, in Lagos. I don't want to mention the name of the hospital, but it's a teaching hospital. It was a male surgical ward at the former Federal Capital Territory, now the Commercial Center. It's a teaching hospital. I will not mention which one. There are about 2 or 3 of them. But there's one particular one that there was a male ward that people were dying. When you get patients there, the fatality rate was high, they will die. You bring a patient in there, the patient dies. And that patient dies. Someone just came in and said, can we change the color of the room? It was a black room. It was black. The color of the room was black. The color of the room, the internal part of the hospital, this particular wing was black. They changed the color to white, and immediately people began to leave about 50%. First things first, dropped to 50%. Then about 70%, people began to recover 70% of the time, and fatality rate went to only 30%. There is a correlation between our thoughts, moods, emotions, imaginations, and the feelings that they generate in our neurobiology that wants us to will to live or to die. That willingness is needed for healing to take place. But that willingness is being attacked by the internet. People are engineering evil. Look, it's easy. People are casting mental spells on people. People are calling people and spreading bad news. It's popular, it's going on. And there are children who have committed suicide because someone cast a spell. It's a form of cyberbullying. And people believe it and begin to carry and peddle. And before you know it, victims are dying. Look, people have died on TikTok. There's research. People have died on Instagram. I've heard about TikTok and Instagram because these platforms have employed addiction scientists. Addiction scientists and addiction psychologists study the brain, and they look at how the brain gets addicted, and they've added addiction psychology into these platforms to make you totally engrossed and attached, and to believe and to look for that thing. Anytime you're not using the internet, you feel nervous, you feel out of place, your cortisol levels rise high. These are all known experiments. The problem is we have a generation now, children who should be protected. They are still young. We adults can even sieve through. You can try to shut down. What about a child? And look, like I said, in the United States, there are now teenage suicide, male teenage suicides going on everywhere, all over the world, not the United States alone. What's my bigger point? And then we now have the advent of deepfakes, where someone can literally play your video. And I can give you a lot of examples, even in my personal experience, the kind of lies. And I'm always asking, here's the funny thing. Nobody goes around to tell you this is what is being said about you that's wrong. Because it's a lie. People, I think it was Paula who said there's a bond with fakes, and the two phrases you used. There's an affinity for drama. There's drama and trauma.
Trauma.
Yes, drama and trauma. Is it a lie? Is it sensational? Is it fun? Yeah, we can stick it on someone's neck. Oh, we can say that about him. And it's all and on and on. And people get angry and they don't want to repent or change when the truth is confronted. They get irritated because they caught a lot of fun posting that position. And so it's difficult for them to retract that story or to say they are wrong. And it's a big industry. There are propagandists out there who are doing this and are getting paid for it. We ought to begin to teach our children critical reasoning skills. And thank you, Paula, for putting this together. It's a matter of life and death.
You're so right. I couldn't agree with you more. And the fact that the word untruth has been added to the dictionary, an untruth, what the F is an untruth, right?
Thank you.
An untruth is a bloody lie, okay? It's a fake lie. That's what an untruth is. And yet that's the bit that attracted all the attention, caused all the trouble, caused this, did that, created that. We can always trace things back to the untruths. But can we hold the people accountable for the untruths? Not always. Sometimes the newspapers don't get done for it. Sometimes they have to pay a fee or a fine for lying or for taking photographs with overhead, cameras which they shouldn't have been using, drones or whatever. But 9 times out of 10, the salacious newspapers are only interested in going out with a story. The TikTokers only want to go out with a story, and it's whatever's going to grab your attention from somewhere else. You got 2 choices. This is the truth. It's a bit boring. Not a lot's happening. Or there's this great, big, wonderful story all about rubbish. Oh, I'll follow that. Right? That's the problem. We need to take this bit, keep the news, and take this bit of salacious rubbish and smash it until it can't come back. But the only people that can do that are the parents and ourselves. We have to control what we put in our own minds, and we have to control what we put in our children's minds. And to be fair, I really do find the more I understand about children, they're watching something and all of a sudden breaking news comes up on the screen. They don't have a choice. They can't turn it off. It's in the middle of whatever it is they're doing. In comes a piece of news, and it's bad news. The only way we can turn it off is by saying this device does not allow these kinds of incoming devices, or doesn't allow other devices to put information on your screen. And that means controls. And you know what? The more we get into this, that's a whole nother debate. And I'm in the middle of one at the moment. I'm working very hard with Ellen Room, who's going through exactly what you're talking about. Her son is no longer here, sadly. 2 years ago, something happened. She thinks it was a TikTok challenge, but he was a perfectly happy young boy. The coroner said there was no suicide there. So there's an example, and I'm sorry to use that word, guys. I should have given you a warning. But I think we're all grown-ups and understand. The point is they couldn't prove it, that there was any feeling or anything, no problems at school, no issues with family, no bullying, no nothing. So therefore the coroner ruled it to be accidental death, stroke, and then he put that word. Now, she's fighting to get to see the software, to see what he was looking at, to see what he was doing. And she's having to go to the courts of America to fight for it. She's fighting TikTok at the moment through the courts to have access to her deceased son's files, because they won't give them to her. Right?
Paula,
That's a fact.
I know, Paula. I know,
wait,
Paula.
Wait,
This just
is
one-
TikTok
that-
through America? I
Excuse
don't
me,
use
darling?
TikTok. Is
It's in
TikTok
America.
through
Yeah.
America?
Yes, it is.
It's the court is in America. She's going through the American courts because there was already a case going through. So we're piggybacking on the back of that one. But the point I'm making is that this salacious stuff that comes into their feed is not controlled. And that's the
Yep.
biggest issue.
And
And
we
the
can
news,
control it.
unfortunately,
And there's
is
a
not
whole-
one that you can stop.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? When it's coming from your friends, you see, trust has been weaponized in our age. The people who you trust are going to sell their biases to you. They're going to color your attention and tell you stuff. And there's a lot of cyberbullying going on, even among adults. Once people envy you, they don't like you, they begin to spread bad blood. And bias is powerful. When you like someone, when they tell you something, you don't check it. You don't check
No.
it deeper. And seldom will you go to the other party to say, They said this about this young boy who is in our street. Someone once told me that someone raped her. A lady told me this. And I called the guy. I had the boldness to call the guy. They never met before. They never met before. Another guy told me someone was a scammer. No, he's a programmer who stays at home. And people look at you, they just look at you and form a story. And this is the origin of psychology of bullying among teenage boys. They give you a nickname that your head is like a spider's head. And boys are now known to commit suicide all over the world because of it. And when it's coming, the feed is coming from your friends, it's trust. We're not going to be attacked in this new future by people we don't trust. We're going to be attacked by the things people will trust. It is the devices you trust, people you trust. Trust has been weaponized. I wrote an article about it. And it's amazing how people who don't know you will start acting to you based on what a trusted ally told them. And it's so powerful.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing that's hard, even on LinkedIn, it's hard. I'll be honest, Coach David, it's even hard for me to not lose my temper and go, how dare you say that about me, right? And Annie will say, Paulette, there's nothing
they've come
good.
to LinkedIn.
They've come to LinkedIn. Oh, they're here.
They used to be on TikTok. They used to be on TikTok, on Instagram, and on Facebook. By the turn of 2021, they came to LinkedIn. They are propagandists, they are liars. And when your brand is stronger and you're doing a good, authentic job, they begin to spread lies about you. And they go into people's DMs to call. They screenshot a picture of you and they say, this is you and them. They know you. They give evidence that's irrefutable. And then the person who they've spoken to begins to act to you, Paulette, that way. They can say you're a scam, you don't know what you're doing. This is because I'm a very deeply perceptive person. And I'm seeing the trend. People are going to soon start committing suicide on LinkedIn, God forbid, if we do stuff like this. But I'm telling you, and there's a whole...
I agree.
It's being toxified.
Yeah.
The toxicity index is getting big. People are taking their personal beef and warfare against people and bringing it to smell other people.
We've had it on the mental wellness room. We got shut down.
Don't forget, someone said we were both fake recently, Paulette. Someone said me and Paulette are fake people. We're not real people.
Wow.
I just laughed.
Yeah.
I just laughed. They DM'd lots of people and told them, don't trust those two. They're not real. They're AI. And I'm like,
don't trust us.
If only. If only. Let me welcome Blessing. Blessing, welcome. Glad you're here. Haroon, I see you as well. Thanks so much for joining us. I appreciate you.
Hi, Haroon.
I think Coach David has a serious point. I think we have to bear in mind. The news is not just what comes from our TV. The news is information that we pass on as if we know what's going on. Let's not be the ones who pass on misinformation. That's what I'm taking from what you're sharing with us, Coach David. We're part of the
That's what happened. That's what happened with the guy in Sweden about the whole of London and Stockport and all the riots. Misinformation. Okay. So, and that was, from one of his friends told him. He then told the world.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's
I want to cry. How sad.
Don't cry. Now there's solutions. Now, Wendy,
it's going to be okay. We're going to be upbeat.
Yeah.
I know.
We're going to be upbeat at the end.
Wow.
Let's go to Joni, and then we'll come around again. Go Joni, go to Michael, then we'll come around again.
Here we go. DMC and DJ Run.
Just needed to lighten the mood up a little bit because I love Run DMC. And so I have 3 of the greatest kids in the world, and they are influenced by all of this all the time. And my little guy and I do listen to listen to the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times all the time when we're together, so that we can get leftist and rightist kind of news. And I have a lot of good conversations with my children about just, what is fake news? And that's just like a ridiculous thing that in America we have to internalize now. We're just like, what is going on? Trump wants to make Canada the 51st state. And Greenland, Goldland. He wants to buy the Gaza Strip and make it a big strip mall, and the Panama Canal. He just wants a big waterway. And a lot of us who are intellectual are really, even if we're moderate, which I am moderate, I are really concerned about this projection because we're like, we don't want to be part of the triple access. We just leave us out of this. And I think showing your kids what it means to be a good humanitarian is really important. I mean, I made my oldest daughter go through all of her old sneakers because her feet are growing like crazy. And I was like, I'm going to bring them with me to I work at an intake homeless shelter once a week. And I'm like, we're going to bring them there because no one in this house is going to be able to use them. And some kid may really want cheer shoes. And I think it's really engaging with your kids, modeling by example, and also they are exposed to this information in a way that we weren't. I mean, again, Paula, we had 4 channels. The day we got cable, I remember in high school, I got MTV. I was like, yes. Oh my gosh, I ruled that I have MTV. But really it was for us, ABC, CBS, NBC, and then the public PBS. And so they have so much more access to things that people are just saying that don't have any basis to them. And so giving our kids access to information that comes from true investigative journalism, and also sharing them with sharing my stories with my children, even from you guys. I just hey, yeah, Nigeria is not actually just a rural desert where it's just there's a couple people trying to scam us. It's the most amazing country, and it's the 7th biggest country. I think I could have gotten that wrong. But just imparting your knowledge as a parent is so important. And yeah, because in their classrooms, it depends on where you live in the United States, whether they get really conservative teachers or really democratic teachers. And all my kids hate Trump. And I'm like, why? Tell me why. Oh, he's a racist. He wants to get rid of all the Mexicans. I'm like, okay, let's back it up. Let's find out where that information is coming from, which I think is really important. I dislike the human being in complete entirety, but yeah, I do think it's important for our kids to have a good knowledge base. And so yeah, that's all I wanted to say. And I think what everyone had said was really important, and it's really
I love
good
it.
to connect.
Joni, before you go, I'm not going to let you just leave me on that one. I would like to ask a question of you, Joni.
Yeah.
So when your child comes home and says something that to be wrong, Okay. You know
Yeah.
that there's, like I talked about the bomb in London, right? It's
Yep.
an old, World War II bomb. It's a bomb
I
that
know they like salacious.
they just come along, exactly. And then the salaciously, lovely that word, salaciously blow it
I
out
like
of all
it too.
proportion and turn it into World War III, right? So the child thinks there is a live bomb in London and it's a big problem, right? How
Sure.
would you show your child? Just run through a couple of ideas because it's really important. They don't just hear it from me, they hear it from a mum.
Yeah.
All right. An intelligent mum, but a mum nonetheless. Please tell us
I
as
would be
a mum
like,
what you would tell your child.
so I would be like, well, first of all, like, let's think about this. Like, do we know how many underground bombs there were in World War II? And they have eradicated almost everything. And our levels of security here in the UK are so far superior to anything that they had back in the 40s. So can we take a moment to digest that? And if you're still nervous, we can talk about how many children have actually experienced a bomb blowing up in their face in the UK. So we can actually have a nervousness about something different,
Oh,
like
have we lost Joni? Oh, you're back. We lost you at the point of how many bombs have gone off.
I mean, like, just like make it realistic to them. Kids, especially little
Yes.
boys, love statistics, and you're like,
Yeah.
frankly, it's not going to affect our family. They're doing it so safely. They have such good measures of safety. We can read about it together. We can
Exactly.
do a little article about it together, so that you understand that this is not. It has no relation to our life right now. But we can also talk about what stinks about it, because this is something that happened in the 40s, and that was scary for little kids then. And so I get it that you're scared at just hearing the word bomb. And so that would kind of be my
See,
take.
that's the key. That's the key. Bringing it down to their level, meeting them where they're at, and telling them with their language how they can, so they can handle it. So actually, it is a bomb, and it was to do with World War II, which is a terrible thing that happened. But this bomb is left over, and they're going to securely blow it up, and it's not going to be a problem. They're going to take it somewhere safe. And that feeling of safety, it's going to be blown up safely. It's not going to hurt anybody. These are the
Yeah, you
words
could,
that
like,
children
make
go,
it cool too.
oh, right. Yeah. We can
You can
also
make it
look
cool,
up
like, be like,
how
look,
many
like
other
some
bombs.
oops, sorry. Sometimes like kids
No, I was-
really like looking at like the implosion of buildings to
Yes.
create new space. Be like,
Yeah.
that's a bomb. That's actually what a bomb is. It's just bringing the building down.
Yeah.
And so that's not that scary. It's really in a very safe measure. Like, I work in construction, so I know all about OSHA safety laws. So I can kind of attest to that. But still, like, I think it's also still, to be really honest, like, this was something that was really scary for kids. Like when, your grandpa was fighting in World War II or whatever. Like, don't be dishonest,
Yeah.
but also be like, right now, like in our world, we're gonna we're gonna snuggle tonight and just make fun of Donald Trump. So, which we do. We do it a lot.
Perfect. That's good. So that's what you do, and that makes you laugh. That's all that matters. The most important thing is that exact example of the war I'm using in my book, because I want, and I'm going to say, like Jack's going to say, can we look up how many bombs there've been, right? And he'll look up how many bombs they've found over the last, 60, 80 years, because kids love facts. They love to know. And they were all blown up safely and nobody got
Especially
hurt.
boys.
But that
Boys
doesn't mean there
love
aren't
facts.
bombs in other countries. They do. But there are bombs in other countries. Let's not pretend that we live in the prettiest of
We
worlds
don't
and there aren't
pretend.
bad things going on. But
No,
being
and
realistic about that particular thing.
like, yes, there are.
That's
You
what I
have
think.
to really think about, like, as a whole, you are pretty lucky. Like, we live here, even though like your parents are divorced, it stinks, but you're safe. You have 2 great homes. You have food on the table every night. You have a great school to go to. I have friends who like have an hour of electricity, and I'm like, how would you like that? You have 5 hours of phone time. I mean, good gosh. And I also wanted to tell you, just to end on a really sad note, but Ellen Rome, it breaks me, like, how horrible that is. And there has to be something that could be done. And I've written to a lot of like our state kind of Congress or state senators actually here in Illinois, just saying, is there anything we can do? Because that was a gross.
It's a tough watch. I know.
It's just horrible, but gross miscarriage of their intellectual freedom, that they will not allow her to see that information about her underage son. And so that does.
I think the thing that upset me, just on that, just before we move on to the next part I want to talk about, but my biggest argument there is who pays the phone bill, who bought the phone, who pays for the internet. So, and they're not a grown up until they're 16, 18. So let's just remember the fact that he was 14, right? So that was my argument. And we're fighting with everything we've got tooth and nail, trust me, and we will do it for the world, not just for us. We're doing it for the world. But this is just one example of where information, isn't accessible to us. And yet we can have tons of other information thrown at us. Do you see what I mean? It doesn't work. It works
exactly
one way.
What you mean.
We can have as much rubbish chucked to us.
We have rubbish chucked to us every, like, I would say 23 hours a day, minute. 1 hour good. And like, honestly, like, I pay for all of my kids' cell phones, and then my ex-husband changed the passwords, and I can't get them unlocked because I don't have the password. And so I'm like, but I pay for them. Can I please have the passwords? And so it's just like one of those silly things that you have to go through with divorce, that you're just like, this is the most irritating thing in the world, and I pay for that. So it's controlled. Yes. But I just wanted to say I support Ellen. I think
I appreciate you. I do. Thank you very much. And it is a fight, and we will fight. That's not if you know me, it's every single cell of my body's on that one. Should we bring Michael up? He's been here forever.
My cells too, just like you.
Ilana, I've sent you the link in the comment in your DM, Ilana. So do join us. We'll love to hear your thoughts.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, thank you, Joni. There's many good comments, so we're going to go through that in a second. Michael, let's hear from you, my friend. What's your take? How do we handle the news, my friend?
That's a difficult one.
A bit louder.
A second.
Vaguely.
It's a difficult one.
No, it's all right
It's a
now. It's all
very,
right.
very, 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 very difficult question. But it needs to be, the conversation needs to be started. And it's a good thing that Paula is writing a book to start the conversation. But on top of that, she's also um, preliminary coming to us and actually starting a conversation with us adults, because that's where the conversation should really start. And we should, in turn, find, plausible solutions um, for dirty tactics. Um, there are lots of individuals out there who are just, how should I put it, completely and utterly nuts, crazy. Some of them are just very significantly intelligent, but their morality is just absolutely and utterly whack. Um, and you find a lot of them in places that are just quite, you wonder, you say, why on earth are they here? Why on earth do they exist? Well, there's a lot of situations why they exist, and there's a lot of situations why they have turned out the way they have turned out. But it is unfair for them to be going about and ruining other people's lives because they have a chip over their shoulder. It is just, it's like as if they were not brought up right. They were not given the right direction, right from when they were little kids or something like that. And they just became bad, evil people as a result. And so we're finding that we are definitely in big trouble, and so is LinkedIn. LinkedIn doesn't even know how to handle these people. And they are, and actually, LinkedIn is actually, how should I put this? You can say that they're in league, but they're innocently in league because they don't really know what's actually happening. They just don't. The leaders and the people that make the rules on LinkedIn don't know. They cancel people's what do you call it, accounts, not realizing that the person who has reported them is a malicious person and very devious in their actions.
Michael,
And they use
can I just
LinkedIn in
add?
order to do that.
Can I just add just 30 seconds? Do you know
Sure.
that now? Do you know that now they have an alliance? You can get 10 of your friends now will suddenly start writing LinkedIn and saying the same thing about one person. So it's not just one. So it's
Oh
a
yeah.
gang now. That's what I wanted to add that. So they
Oh
keep
yes.
flagging your account. They
Yes.
keep
Yes.
doing all of these things.
It's happened to some one of my good friends, and for some reason or another, her account has been, you know, restricted, and restricted for an extraordinarily amount of time. But the restriction is as a result of her own brothers and sisters, people who are just ganging up and being malicious because they are jealous and they have nothing else to do. And the other thing is that they have aspirations which they have been shot down on because this person is a very astute
Hmm.
person and will not go down the road that they want her to go down.
Hmm.
So what do? They become malicious and start attacking
Hmm.
because it's in their best interest to do so, not because it's in her best interest. No, they don't care what happens to her. They don't care because she did not follow their protocol. She did not follow their directions. She did not give them what they wanted. They're actually just throwing a childish fit. Pretty much is what you're seeing. And unfortunately, I must call them out. These are Nigerian men and women who are attacking their own folks, and it's just too surprising. I mean, I'm sickened by it, and I'm saying it's my own kinfolk that are actually doing this. It's not the actual person who I consider my enemy, but my own stabbing me in the back. Uh, but it's just like you said earlier. You've got to watch out for those who are close by you, because they're the ones who can become the most they can be the most vicious
Yeah, they're the ones that have the
in
half truths
getting
about you. They're the ones that have
right,
the half truths. They have the information.
right,
And
right. And I
I'm
was
sorry,
listening to what you said.
yeah, you see, Michael, I'm having goose pimples as you're talking because I've had the opportunity to handle like 3 cases like this. The
Yeah.
closer they are to you, the more damage they can do. They engineer and design negative public relations. They engineer
Absolutely.
negative public relations. They
And
engineer it
LinkedIn has no
deliberately.
idea.
And LinkedIn has no idea. And you know what? They have emails, DMs, and this level of toxicity. All of a sudden, people you just meet just are getting toxic towards you. You meet someone, and they would craft the story, they will add believability, they will use storytelling, and it's so amazing how sophisticated that it's become a gang. They are gangs up. Yeah, and
Yeah.
the
And
truth is, we must find a way of
Wait,
busting them.
Coach David,
Yeah.
I have listened to you talk before, and you are an intellectual. You're smart, and I think a lot of kids, they're still forming, and so they get a lot of their like chutzpah from their parents and what their parents say. So I think intellectualism is so greatly important, and the ability to like kind of decipher what's real and what's not real, aka the TikTok thing, and just like continually like imparting on your kids or whoever, yourself, be like, is this real, is this not real, and keep learning.
Yeah, I agree.
It,
And it starts from the adult community. Gradually, it spreads to the kids. It starts from we, the adults, and then the behavior cascades down. And what the internet has done is that adoption rates downward, the filters are off because they are seeing the same thing we are seeing. When we were younger, there's a time you could shut down the TV. But what do you say to a daughter who saw a deep fake video of her
I think
mom?
we've lost Coach David. No, it's back.
Helen,
I was going to
please.
say just while I've got a second while you broke down there. I have had a similar thing happen to me. I think Michael is aware of it. I don't think the rest of the internet is, but I'm happy to tell you now because it's been dealt with. But I refuse to give somebody some money. And the reason I refused is because my friend Ennie, who's always looking out for me, I said to him, I've given this person money 2 or 3 times, not a lot, but $20 here, $20 there. And they're really giving me a hard time, and they're desperate, and I don't know how I feel about it. What do you think I should do? And he said, no. He said, no, do not give any more money. You've done enough. You're always the one they come to. You're always the one, right? That person started spreading very nasty rumors, malicious lies about me. I had the nickname of Pissy Pants because they couldn't use my name, because if they used my name, it would be recorded and sent back to LinkedIn, and they were being watched by LinkedIn because I'd reported them. And it was a large group of people. And these people were different people in their group were coming to me and saying, do you know this person is saying these things about you? And we know you're not like that. And we know this isn't you. We don't know what's going on. And I was like, just let it go. And they were like, really? And I was like, yeah, let it go. I've reported it. You know the truth. I know the truth. It can't hurt me. Okay. They're insignificant. Now, that's about me being able to be intellectually able to reason with myself and say, I'm not going to allow this to impact on my life. What you're talking about, Coach David and Michael, is when people are ganging up using fake stories and fake news and causing all kinds of issues on the internet. That is no different to we're talking about the fake news that are in the newspapers, right? This is what it's all about. It's lies. Ultimate, and it's not untruths. I'm not having this untruth story. Oh, I might have misspoke or I spoke an untruth. No, you lied. Let's be honest, right? You lied. So don't be a politician that tells untruths or misspeaks. Don't lie, right? So Bethan, hi, sweetheart. I must say hello to you. How are you, darling? Haven't spoken to you for ages. So, you know, the most important thing out of this room today is we think about what's coming in on our social media feeds, and if we can cancel anything, we do. If we know of anything that's going on, like Michael's talking about, like Coach David's talking about, if people are coming to you and telling you lies about people or speaking about somebody in a negative way, speak to that person and find out if it's true. Literally write a DM to the individual and say, are you aware this person is saying this about you? Do you know what? You'd be surprised how quickly they go, oopsies, been caught, right? Or they'll come back and say, it's a family dispute and this is the reason. We'll find the reason. We'll get to the bottom of it. You don't get to the bottom of it when you just then go and repeat it. Because if you just repeat what you've been told, you're part of the same thing. You're part of that carrying on that culture of lies, of fake truths, or not knowing that it's a fake truth. So let's not repeat things. Let's check with the person who's being said about. Let's find out the facts before we repeat things. And then I think that misinformation will get stopped, right? I really believe that is the way to deal with it. Do not hide. Do not shy from direct contact. Who likes confrontation? Nobody. Nobody likes confrontation. But if we don't have it, we'll never get to the truth. That's a fact.
Well
all right.
said.
So
Well
go
said,
to
well
the
said.
source.
I agree.
Go to the source. What do you say, Michael?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
I
right.
think there is so many good things to.
I'm going to say Paulette told me to ask you this. And if you think that you can get away with any particular answer, you're going to have to be dealing with her. I know what she's called. Do you? Madam Hatchet?
Absolutely. You do that. You do that. Because and also because of the way I am, I'll take that message and I'll read that message and I will say to them, yeah, you're right. I did suggest this is the only way to stop it. Right? And I believe we don't like confrontation, but we have to have it, okay? And with the news, let's just be completely, back up on the news story. The whole point of what this is about: big news, bad news. Okay, I'm going to tell you something that's going to shock you now, and this is not really newsworthy, but it's very funny. In the UK, we measure our breasts by inches. Okay. There was sorry, this is really taking it down. I'm going down the salacious route, okay? There was an article about a woman who had, okay, are you ready? Breasts. And they were supposed to be, she was supposed to be at 36, okay? double L. Now we go A cup, B cup, C cup, D cup, right? There aren't that many go to E cup, right? That's about it. In China and Japan and countries like that, the Asian folks tend to stick with the A cup. They may get to a B cup, right? Unless they've had a boob job, right? But the bigger the woman, the larger the boobs, granted. But this is a small woman, right? Well, if you'd just seen the breasts on this woman, they were, honestly to goodness, they were like double melons, but like this big, and they were just hanging off her. Of course, it was AI. It was AI. It's as obvious to you as it is to me. She couldn't walk with breasts like that. She'd need to have scaffolding, right? She wouldn't need to have a bra. She'd need scaffolding to walk. She'd need metal poles underneath them. Do you know what? It sold more newspapers. They sold more newspapers that day than the day the Queen died. Now, I know breasts are big news. I'm up for that. Breasts are big news. I get it. But understand the reason I say this. It just goes to show how news, okay, how fake news, AI-induced breasts now, we don't even need to go to see a surgeon to have them surgically, grown. We can now just go to AI and have an extra pair put on, right? Have all our photographs done with these new surgically put on AI boobs, and we'll have nice photographs. Is this the future? There'll be no more breast implants. We will have AI breast implants, right? Now, I'm making a joke of it and making light of it, but to sell more newspapers than the day the Queen died? Really? This woman was front page news. I want you to think about that for a minute, okay? And ask yourself this question. Why did that sell more newspapers? Right? It sold more newspapers because people want to see it. People want to talk about it. People want to look at the picture and go,
I don't know what you're going to do with that big of a titty.
Exactly,
You can't
right?
walk around. You can't go have
She
fun or
couldn't.
anything
She'd be on
else.
it. She'd be
Do
flat
you know how
over.
expensive it'd be for
Yeah, and you
clothes?
had to hold them up with scaffolding.
Scaffolding. You wouldn't need a bra, right? So the point I'm making is, it just goes to show you that AI can even make breasts, and they can stick them on the front of skinny little women who'll fall over as far they wouldn't be able to walk. They would be on their noses, right? But it sold newspapers. Now, I just want to back up and say, in my heart, okay, I would rather Jack, in my Jack and Walter story, said to me, or Jack says in the book, did you see the picture of the lady with the big boobs? Right? And then Walter has to say, well, I don't really think we should have been looking at that, really, right? Because I think that's for grown-ups. I would rather that, okay, than have to talk about bombs. But reality is that bombs are real and the breasts weren't, okay? But I just want to leave it on a light note that just bear in mind, okay, that AI can do anything. AI can have you killed, write your a whole piece about you, your name, and a whole little story about your last days, and it can kill you off. And likewise, it can put you right at the top of the game. It can make you a celebrity. Everything is possible, and the problem is somewhere in the middle of all this is where we want to be, which is reality. There's a word called reality. We need to live in reality. You can't walk with boobs that are standing out like a foot out the front, okay? You just can't. That story was brilliant. I had to tell you it. That was the funniest thing I'd read. It's outsold the Queen dying, right?
Don't look at
You'd
me.
have
Well,
thought
I tell you what,
Drama's laughing
you-
too.
you put that in your book, and you're gonna sell 1 billion books. I
Yeah.
tell you what.
Yeah, but not for the children, for the dads.
Mm.
It would be the dads
They're
buying
to
the
get
book.
boobs.
If I put the
Oh.
picture in,
What's the point of getting boobs? Everyone's like, "Don't you want to get
I'm
boobs?"
sorry,
Okay.
I'm sorry, Paula. You've
Guys,
opened up a can of
so
worms
I
that are
leave and get my
maybe should have
kids.
been left closed.
Are you going, Joni? Joni, are you going? You're going, Joni.
Joni's
She got
going
the
music.
Beastie Boys on, trying to get us out of the boob situation.
Tell me this style is terrific. It is kind of different, but let's get
All right,
specific.
but I do have to
She's
get my kids.
doing-
So, mwah.
Thank
We
you.
love you,
Take care,
Joe.
Joni.
Take care.
People in the place that BKR and
Happy
one-
St. Patrick's Day.
You gotta
Yeah.
come
And you,
up
darling.
with this. The rhymes you wrote
Bye.
was whack. So
Let's welcome
So-
Dr. Leslie with Jonah Room. It says gossiping is adolescent
Absolutely it
behavior.
is.
Yeah, I agree. It's not
Absolutely.
news. That's for
Spot
sure.
on.
It's not news. It's not news. I say we must be wary not to be not that person who creates that.
Absolutely. And that's part of what we're talking about. Coach David's saying that at the end of the day, people are malicious, and it's often people that are very close to you, family, friends, that can ruin you, and it's true. But likewise, the newspapers, quite often it's family and friends that sell stories about the individuals. Celebrities, a lot of celebrities have been spoken about, written about by their friends, spouses, ex-spouses, relatives. Let's go even to the stage where we've got Spare. Prince Harry has written a book about the royal family. I mean, we really don't. Salacious, that word salacious is so true. Okay. It's nasty, it's adolescent, as Dr. Leslie said, but the whole point is it really is about us becoming more aware of what's in the news, and even taking it back to the lady with the big boobs. We know that's impossible, right? And I go back to that story to make us leave on a light note, okay? We know it's not possible. It isn't humanly possible for that person to walk without scaffolding. So as long as we walk away laughing, okay, and we are laughing, and I want you to laugh because it is funny, and it sold more newspapers. That is terrifying to me, to sell more newspapers than the Queen, the Queen dying, the sort of the memorial book about the Queen. Boobs won it, right? It just shows you where we are, unfortunately, in the capacity of intelligence, of actually in every form of intelligence, whether it's emotional, whether it's mental. It's just crazy that everybody wants a picture of the boobs. But you know what? Job done. I've told my funny story. I've made you all think about it. I've made you laugh. And the most important thing is we're going to go away from this conversation and we're going to be saying to ourselves, what's real? Is that the truth? Is that right? Just question things, second guess them, question it again. And as Coach David said, if you read something that's about somebody, go to the source. Did you know this is happening? Are you aware you're being called this? Did you know that's happening? And the answer is yes, but do you know what? I'm not going to let it rile me. It doesn't matter. They're insignificant in my life. That's what I said. And I carried on. They are insignificant. And, we blocked them, Annie blocked them, and we've not heard from them since. All right. And that's how it is.
That's
the
how
way
it
to
should
do
be.
it, right?
I think that the fact that we have to be able to laugh at the news half the time, and how it's not funny,
Yeah.
but It's irony we're laughing at. It's the weirdism, the incorrectness of what we're being told. That just, you know. And there's so much good news in the world. I say again, there's much good news out there. Don't get stuck on the bad news stories. Don't get stuck on those. There's no
Always
joy.
remember this: you got to make your peace with God or whoever you believe in. Yeah, everyone's got their own God, and that's fine. Anybody's God. You're the one that has to make peace with them at the end of the day to get where you want to go. So let me tell you something: karma's real, and I've seen it work over the years many times. And it's not something you want to mess with. So always remember, and I tell people this constantly that talk about me, make your peace with God. Well, aren't you going to stick up for yourself? No, you already made your decision about me. You told everyone else your decision about me. So you have to make your peace with God now. I don't. I'm fine. I know who I am. And I'm that person that needs to go back out there because it's calling me, you guys. I'm itching. I got my window open up a little bit and I can feel it snowing.
Please go.
Well, I just want to say we appreciate you, Michelle. You know, we love you to pieces, and we're always grateful for you being here. And you are, you know, we're going to do great stuff together, Michelle and I. We've got plans. So, and it will happen. I can't do that very well, but I will do my best. I do wonky hearts. My hearts were more like goggles. Do you remember the goggles? But
can you guys
I'm not very good at it.
Let's go through the comments quickly. Our time has come, so let's go through the comments quickly.
I'm part little person. I don't know if you guys know this, but honestly, you can ask my doctors, and actually my my PN. He'll be like, it's irritating because I am part little, so my ear canals and everything are the size of a neuro youth. It's no joke. My veins, since I do have red blood, and my veins, it's so hard to catch a vein because my veins actually will hide. It's no joke. There is only one nurse that we have found. Then she actually comes down from ICU to draw my blood, but she'll bring her scanner with her. And otherwise, constantly. I mean, I got a scar from this ear to right here. So I am part little, and my thumbs prove it because this is a big people's thumb. And the other one's not. And if you look at my toes,
interesting.
My toes are little people. No.
Oh,
And
that's
if
sweet.
you
I quite
look
like
at
that.
my
That's a whole
Yeah,
book.
I-
There's a whole book there.
Yeah.
There's a whole
Yeah.
book there. The big people and the little people. There's a whole storybook.
Yeah, I mean, a middle person.
yeah, my doctor will laugh at you, and that's why I don't go to the ER. Is because since they're like, what's wrong with you? And since I have sensory issues, they're like, honestly, my MD will tell you, you can't just stick a normal thing in her ear and get anything out. Don't even try it. Because it's so small that they have to go get a neo looking in thing to even look at my ear. So imagine if it's that small. I got sensory issues and just a little piece of wax is in there. It's gonna send me the little B wave. It's gonna make my
Yeah.
antenna bend. And so yes, there's things about me that are little. I'm only 5'2", and we try to keep me because I am little and big. We really weigh me out, and I don't care what anyone says. This is what works for me.
And you are perfect just the way you are.
Right on. We weigh me every month. Me and my doctor do. I don't weigh myself here at home. I don't have it. But when I go in every month to get my medication, yes, we do weigh me. And I can tell you this, we can almost switch my medication by how much I weigh. You're 3 pounds off. We keep me at 130. You know how hard that is when you forget to eat? I do. I have alarms all over. I forget to eat. It's not because I don't want to eat. It's because I'm so excited and I'm out there doing this and I'm doing that.
and usually it used to happen all the time. I always built my own engines for my trucks, and I'd forget to eat for like 12 hours.
Yeah, don't
So
do
when
don't
you come
don't
onto
do that.
LinkedIn,
Mm.
when you come onto LinkedIn, make LinkedIn food time. So just
Yeah.
like Annie sits there eating his nuts, you can
Mm.
sit there eating your nuts, and
No,
then
listen.
that way, well, whatever
Mm.
whatever it is, you are chocolate or
You
whatever,
want me to-
you can.
I can't eat in front of you, and I definitely can't eat and try to type. And
But you can
no,
eat afterwards.
I'm
Like,
a
like,
very
like
You
I
just
do.
put yourself on
Straight away
put
afterwards,
yourself
you can
on
eat.
blank. Yeah. Just put
Mm.
yourself on blank for a little while, have a bite of chocolate, you'll be fine. I
Yes.
give you
oh yeah,
permission, no problem.
Great. Look,
but yeah,
Listen, we want you to
let's get
be
to the
well.
comments.
We need you to
Let's
be
get-
well.
I'm
let's-
always
let's
gonna
get-
say, well, that's why I always have alarm clocks. If you actually look in my phone and everything, everyone says to eat every 4 hours. No, because I'm so hyper. I'm about every 2. I graze. I mean, I graze. One time they actually made me quit eating so many carrots because I was turning. They were like, "What in the hell's wrong with you?" Because I was eating so many carrots outside, just you know. And
They were meant for the horses.
Yeah, the ponies. Right. Hold on. Let's
The
get through our
ponies.
comments. Otherwise, we're here all day because I've got a
Comments.
meeting.
Let's do comments. Yeah.
So Coach say there's so many social media propagandists. I think that's a problem, right? So Carrie says, no, we'll get more likes with that, and that's true. That's true, right? You know, the reality, man, people just lying about other people, and you know, it's fake news. And it happens on TV and on social media, especially on social media and
yeah,
on
be
TV.
Be
proud.
aware.
Be
Just be
proud of
aware of it.
people
That's
that
all.
are.
Don't believe everything that you see. That's a trick, right? So Janice says the other side of you know, is the media not showing us everything now. That's true. That's true. You know,
That's true.
so many things happen every day. We don't see a single. You know, there's wars in different parts of the world. There's many wars, but you know, news channels choose to only run with theirs, what they want to run with, which is really annoying.
Yep.
So Coach says there are many paid propagandists. Again, that's true. You know, again, we just need to just be aware, you know, and be, you know, we'll be ready to ask the question: is this true?
No,
Can
I
this be
feel.
true?
Yeah.
No, I feel anyone's allowed to think the way they want to. Just don't let it out of your mouth. My forefathers fought for me to be able to vote, to be able to do what I want, but they didn't fight for me to be able to be stupid.
Mm.
All right? It doesn't matter which side you're on. You can have an opinion and everything, but quit beating each other down for having an opinion. Lift each other up, and you know what? We're going to get through this a lot quicker and get where everybody wants to be a lot quicker. If
Mm.
everyone is just, you're allowed to do and be what you want because our forefathers fought for it. But again, they didn't fight and allow you to be stupid and to hurt other people. And that's why I won't talk about politics ever. My
It's
grandma
good.
was
Good
so
not to.
proud of me for
Yeah.
the day I got to go vote. And she
Yeah.
never told me which side to go for. She always told me, use your own head, Michelle.
I think that coaches are next point that we're sentimentalists. I think that's part of our problem with this news thing. You know, we love to hear things that we think we agree with. You know, echo chambers, as they call it.
Oh.
We love to hear the same thing if we think. And I mean, a lot of people, they've got a negative mindset to start, Paulette, and then they've got this conspiracy theory point of view. You know, I want to be. I think they hope to be right sometime. If they throw enough conspiracies, enough duff news out, one might prove to be true. But it never. It doesn't work that way. The truth doesn't lie, right? You know, we need to be. The news is meant to be objective. It's meant to be a factual thing. So, you know, our emotions shouldn't really come into it. So Alana says it's like
Disney. Yes, exactly, Alana.
Made up stories. You know, truly.
I won't even Google myself because of made up stories. Good Lord. And I'm not even on social
Why do,
media.
why do
And
people paint others and try to work against others? Who knows, Coach? Who knows? Who knows?
I know someone actually DM'd me and said, "Hey, have you Googled yourself lately? You know, anyone can do it." And I was like, "I'm sure you can. For $15, though, I can also pay to find out anything I want about someone. So why would I Google them when you can go to those little things and for $15 you can get everything that happened to them? So quit talking shit about me and go pay your $15 to pull up really what's happened to me, or
it's what we live in. It's very sad. And I say it does leave people isolated, depressed, and unmotivated. And I agree, Coach. I agree with that.
That is the true, and that's what we were saying earlier.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's sad.
What was Carrie saying?
Carrie's got a
might
new
be
job.
busy soon. I'm going to start tomorrow at work. Yay! Excellent.
Yay!
Well done, Carrie.
Joke.
Well done, Carrie.
Yeah, well done, Carrie. The other thing is that there's a psychology of these propagandists and bad news. It's typically, like Michael said, they want to get ahead. They have their own business or markets, and you look like a trailblazer. And we need to begin to train discernment or news filtration techniques to children once they cross 4 to 5.
It's adults, Coach. So adults. Never mind. No, this.
No, I'm saying in addition to we growing our discernment, it needs to be ingrained for us and also our children. The ability to begin to sift through information, do critical thinking.
Yes.
I mean, there are people, Annie, to shock you. I mean, people don't know you. They just start. So I say, Annie, he's a balloon. I mean, they can just start.
Yeah, they do. They do every day. But I admit that we've learned to laugh and just laugh because what I always say, Coach, is quite simple. If you're not paying me, I don't care. And if you're paying me, I still don't care.
I don't know. I usually always add something to it when I heard that I did something. And actually, I do have a friend, and she was like, "You got to quit saying that." But she called me up, and she was like, "Hey, do you remember this when we were younger and everything?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she goes, "Do you remember they said this and that?" And I go, "Yeah." And she goes, "Do you remember what you said back?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah." She goes, "Yeah." And I go, "Okay, this is what I said back. Someone said that I was sleeping with all these people." And I said, "And not only that, there was a chicken involved." And so all of a sudden it got there. Oh my God. And I was just like, that's why I said that, to be like, and being real facetious there, asshole.
Salacious.
And not only that, chickens were involved too. And I go, so if you're honestly gonna believe that, I don't think we need to be friends anymore. And
as long as no chickens were harmed,
no, there wasn't even a chicken. No, it was just someone that was liking to spread rumors. And actually, my friend was getting her master's degree, and when they had come over to her, she had just graduated with her master's in math, and everyone had gone over to her house to the barbecue, and I didn't even know this girl. And I think she was very messed up on drugs, is what it was. She goes, "But hey, I heard about you." And I looked at her and I go, "Oh, that's nice." Mind you, I don't do social media. I didn't even do Lytican then. And she goes, "Yeah, I heard this and this about you." And I said, "Not only that, there was chickens involved." She automatically goes straight back to her hometown, like the town next, I don't know, half an hour away. And just, oh God, Blaine calls me up. She's all, "You got to quit doing that." She was like, "Jeffrey's at work right now hearing something about a chicken and you." And I was just like, that's funny. But yeah, I mean, that's how I get to know if it actually happened, is I'll throw something in, I'll be like, and there was
be like Carrie, and they say, "Don't watch TV," is what he says. Just stream the local news in the morning, and then that's it.
And that's all I do.
Makes sense. Absolutely.
I wouldn't look at the other news online either. I just wouldn't even look at the news on Facebook. You can't get news on Facebook. You just can't. I don't think you can. as Coach says, drama sells, and that's trauma sells too. It's true. Let's try and avoid those, right? Elan says no bipartisanship. Yeah, no. It's a strange thing, the fact that our news is so skewed one way or another. I see the comment
Never get
by,
cable. No.
I think that was KD, I think. So my great aunt would watch the news non-stop when she was alive. But again,
Which is what I was talking about. This is part of the problem. When you're stuck indoors and you are either long-term sick or disabled or old, and you just watch 24/7, it's on loop. It's dangerous.
They'll give up and they'll die.
Yeah, thank you for that. It's very true. Yeah.
People love to believe negative things. I wish they would not. I wish they would question the information that they're taking.
Always look for the positive.
Yeah, too much propaganda.
Yeah, Francesca, absolutely, spot on.
Yeah, you gotta actually pay for local news where I live. I get Las Vegas news. No, I do. I get Las Vegas news. They're 80 right now. I'm in a blizzard. But hey, I know about their news, but since I don't pay for news, honestly, I have to pay, and I don't see why I should have to pay to know my local news since I live right here. And so I don't have Netflix. I don't have Amazon Prime. I don't have Hulu. No, not right now.
You're the lucky one. That's why I say that. As Adrian says, unfortunately, bad news is what sells. If there's no bad news to report, ratings would be sure to drop. I don't think it would. I'd be quite happy with good news sometimes, or different news. We don't need bad news.
I think what we would like is just a balance. Let's have some bad news and some good news. Let's feed us with, like we have to have vegetables, but let's have some protein too. Let's have a balance. That's what we need in our lives.
Only one a day of bad news, though. I don't want 5 a day or 7 a day. I'm all right, thanks.
Just one a day of bad news.
This coach. So biased news, targeting biased people to increase biased views of the world. That's the truth.
Absolutely. Spot on.
It says Paulette, it's not easy, especially if the mood is low already, even before the news.
For sure. And that's one of the things that I said right at the beginning is when your mood is low, bad news just takes it lower. So just only watch the news once a day. And if you can, do it in the morning or at night before you read your book. Don't do it several times, just once. And then otherwise it can lower your mood easily.
I think Ilana wants you to start a petition to get the news to be more accurate, Paulette. Good luck with that.
Oh, listen, I would love that. But it's no point because it's not what everybody wants. A lot of people like to read. A lot of people like to read whatever they want. And like with the lady with the boobs, right, who would need scaffolding, she was Alana's size, a titchy person like this with boobs that were sort of, honestly, they were out like balloons. And honestly, people believed it and bought the paper. So why would they sign? I can't get people to join me. They like rubbish.
That's always gone on, Paulette. Remember the sport newspaper from years ago? Is that still going? They used to have technology to inflate pictures.
Yeah, but no, this was AI. It was so good. The skin was stretched beautifully. It was horrible. It was very cleverly done. But something, I reckon calling a friend, speak to someone you love, talking things through is absolutely every time, Alana. 100% agree with you.
So let's teach our kids to be humane and human. And I agree.
Absolutely. Amen to that.
I hope my son, if I don't think it's true, I'll tell him straight. I don't think it's true. It's not true.
Prove to me. That's a question. Everyone says they don't want to be bipartisan. I can never say it right. Bipartisan, but everyone wants to like not fight anymore. So I want to know from everyone, what's the answer then, since you guys are politicians? You guys don't want to do bipartisan, but still you guys, it's such conflict between both parties. I don't know about you guys, but here in America,
You know,
yeah.
the way it used to be, Michelle, that we can agree to disagree, number one,
Yes.
and that we can hold different points of view and still be friends.
Yes, quit using us and getting us upset to where we pick a side to where
Yeah.
so everybody else can, well, you decided to be this one or you decided to be that one, and that's why they have it. No, that we
Michelle,
shouldn't be used as that.
just to interrupt you for 1 second, we had miners' strikes in the UK in the 70s, and it was horrendous. Okay, the miners were told to all go on strike. Some miners didn't. They went to work, and they were known as, forgot the word. It'll come to me in a minute. I had it a second ago. Can you remember any? What did they call the word? Charles,
Yeah.
what's the word for one of those miners who went to work that shouldn't have done during the strikes?
When you say shouldn't have done, chose not to. Scabs, they called them.
What?
Scabs.
They called them.
Scabs. That was
Yes.
it. Scabs. So
It's a
what
British
happened
word,
was
in case you're
in
wondering.
families, you had brothers and sisters never speaking again. After all the strikes, some people went to work because they couldn't afford not to. They got children to feed, they got mouths to
Right.
feed. They said, look, I gotta go to work, right?
Yeah.
Then the whole of the other family that didn't go to work wouldn't talk to them. And they still to this day, 50 years later, still don't talk. Families still are completely separated because of the miners' strikes. It was the biggest thing. I think it was Wales was one of the biggest areas it happened in.
But
I'm
it was
sure
the
it was
70s.
Wales.
Yeah, it was the 70s we're talking.
Wow.
Yeah, after 50
70s,
years,
yeah.
it's
And
still
there's
holding
still
budget.
50 years of, I was reading about it the other day, 50 years of war, they called it. Families still not talking. So that goes to show you that, you know, exactly. It's crazy. Anyway,
Carrie, don't
going through the
hold
comments,
your breath,
Tony.
Carrie. Don't hold your breath, please. Waiting for 3 journalists. You might just
I
end
hope
up.
so, Carrie. I'll
standing
keep my
terrible.
fingers crossed.
But the real journalists, please stand up. No, they won't. No, they're rare these days. You know, it's very weird.
The truth. Please, will the truth stand up?
Carrie says we need to watch the news. Watch the news next to cows. So can we go in one ear and out to the other? The other. That's another Carrie joke.
Out
That's
the
very funny,
udder.
Carrie.
Oh,
We
boom,
like that
boom.
one. We like that one. Francesca, I sent you a link to your DM on LinkedIn, but it seems like you didn't see it, or you changed your mind about
Or
coming up.
next time.
Go ahead.
We'll send you it next time for sure.
We're here. We're here all the
That's
time.
it. I do like that. Thanks for being a great shield. And I say I do protect my Paulette very, very seriously. You know, we because I guess I send that many people to help, so I have to be responsible for what some of them do and try and be somewhat protective of my friends. You have to be, otherwise, you know. And you know, if I see someone say something odd about one of my friends, I will respond. And like what I was saying earlier, I hope you'll respond to. I hope you do the same for other people as well. You know, if something just sounds odd, it's not true. I have no problem saying I'll take you on because I know it's not true. You know, you do your worst. Ilana is very concerned about Joni having news conversations with her kids. She's saying essentially, you know, don't share your opinions with your children. I really, I can see where you're coming from, Ilana. I can see where you're coming from. Yes, they will make their own choises, you know, but I think, you know, there's just as a parent, sometimes when the kids come out with some ridiculousness these days, I just can't help myself. I'll be like, that's just not true. That's just not true. The latest one the other day was all this PDD stuff. My son comes and goes, "Oh, Jay-Z. I like Jay-Z." I'm like, "No, he's not. There's no evidence at all." And within a week, the case was dropped against Jay-Z because it's not true. You know, I say no. I'm willing to have the argument if I truly believe You know, and I'm not going to spread bad news to my kids. You know, it's more trying to get them to understand that, you know, there's more truthful information somewhere. You just got to find it, right? Paulette, you're Mary Poppins. You are. Yeah. Let's
I
not
want to be
talk
the penguin. I want to be the penguin. Hey, I have gone and seen the Music Man at the MGM, and I was in Reno, and I was like able to go back there with them and everything like that. Yeah, I was really young, but yeah, it was when the MGM was. The one I call my grandma, she was actually the secretary for over 35 years. I loved it too. And I used to sleep underneath her desk, but she was the secretary for the Extension Office of Nevada for over 35 years. And then my grandfather was actually the first USDA inspector. So, I mean, I grew up with a hard hat on, and I remember being in the meat packing plant, and this guy came up and he goes, "Look what my wife made you." And it was a little long lab coat, and I had my hard hat, and I mean, I was going through there, and I got to carry the USDA stamp, but I mean, grandpa never let me use it. And yeah.
Yeah, no.
But
You know, you always funny, Michelle. You always funny. You know, let's just say, always take it to the source, as you said earlier, Paulette, right? If you have a complaint, don't repeat the gossip. Take it to the source.
Yeah, there's.
You have.
I grew up with adults,
and people won't like it. People didn't like it when I had issues. People didn't like it, but I just said, if you hear this about me, just, you know, come and talk to me. I'd rather that.
I
would all rather that, really.
I appreciate when someone asks a question. You know, someone said this about you, then that, even though I'm going to say I don't care anyway, but at least now I can tell you what the truth is. If there's a story, I'll tell you what it is. If there's no story, I'll tell you there's no story. I don't know what this is. Like, people talk about you and they're nothing about you at all. You know, and that's just how sad this what our world has got. But no, but it's like we can still control what we take in. I think that's the thing. Carrie, you have to go soon. Have a great and cheesy day, everyone. And,
I'm gonna.
I like Carrie's joke.
Have a cheesy day. Bye, Michelle. You're going to.
We are nearly done. Bye, Michelle.
Oh, you wrapped up. Oh, Cyrus.
Yeah, close the window first, Michelle. Close the windows. Bye, Michelle. Close the windows. Close the windows. Let's start there. Cyrus,
How do I get out?
Yeah, I can take you off stage. No, just turn your device off. That normally does the trick, right? Cyrus says, "Hello, everyone. How are you all?" We're great, Cyrus. I'm doing great. Hello, my people, says Professor Roxana. Happy New Week. It is indeed. It's a Monday, right? What's that? If you're not paying me, I don't care. Even if you do pay me, I still don't care. That's me. That really is me all over. Right?
that should be a headline. Said NEO song.
They're most surprised when they see my attitude that I really you can't face me because you have to work extra hard to really get on my nerves, and I'm not going to respond. You know, Ilana, oh, my N is nuts again, just going nuts. Yes, Ilana, and my nuts never leave the conversation. Henry, I'm glad you got here in the end. Our team tuned in from DC for more politics. No, Henry, we don't talk about politics. You know, it's about the news and making sure that we don't go spreading bad news, and we don't indulge ourselves too much in the bad news that's all around us on TV, on radio, magazines, and wherever, even on the internet. So, Brother Charlie, thank you for being here. Thank you so much. I appreciate everyone. I appreciate all of you. Paulette, now let's have your last message today, if you don't mind.
I think I'd like to say my last message is my first message, which is that make sure that whatever source of news you choose to use has been verified, it's credible, and that you trust it, because trust is the most important thing. And if you do trust it, they believe what they're saying. And if it turns out they've been lying, then you'll find out good enough. But the most important thing is too much news is bad news. So limit yourself to once a day or twice a day and turn off the constant feed, because you'll have it coming from all different places with all different biases and you won't have a clue what you're talking about. So that would be my closing comment, is look after yourself, your wellness and your heart and your mind and your body and your soul need to be protected.
At
So
all
look
times.
after yourself.
No, I agree. I agree with you, Paulette. And do connect with Paulette and connect with each other as well, my friends. Go along to the comments
Recording in
page
progress.
and
Hi,
engage with
Desiree
people.
Harumi is here.
All right. So my next meeting started already, Paulette. So I'm gonna have to let everyone go and say thank you, Paulette. We're on tomorrow.
Take care. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Bye everyone. Bye everyone. Paulette, comments page for you, Paulette. Good luck. Champagne or rum, but she's success with